What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another scary reaction video. You know what I'm saying? Different day, same timing. Today, we are going to be watching a little bit of Llama Arts. If you don't know who Llama Arts is, I'm gonna link their channel down below in the description, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, we're not finna do too much talking. We're finna kinda just hop straight into it. Let's get it. Still haven't found a new jump scare I can get y'all with. But anyways, you should hit that sub button. Like, right now. Alright y'all, this first animation is called Hide and Seek. Why did it take me so long to say that? Well, we're not gonna talk about that though. Let's start the video, you know what I'm saying? My goodness. Okay. What is time out in?
When I was a kid, my parents would sometimes bring me down to my aunt and uncle's place to stay for the weekend.
The good old
Mainly,
days.
I'd spend time playing with my two cousins who were around the same age as me. They lived on a small farm with plenty of open space, and we could run around doing pretty much whatever we wanted. If we thought we could get away with it, the three of us would sometimes cross over to the neighboring farm about half a mile away. It had been abandoned for decades, with a scattering of derelict buildings and other structures still standing on the property, just begging to be explored. This was of course a gold mine for three adventurous young boys such as ourselves, especially after my cousins told me stories about the deaths that took place in the house.
What?
It was pretty classic fare. Man goes crazy, axe murders his entire family, hangs himself, returns every night as an angry spirit looking for new victims.
Wow.
Good, grisly stuff. Even at that age, I knew they were probably making it up, or at least embellishing old rumors. But seeing as how the setting lent itself so well to such tales, I allowed myself to buy into it. One afternoon, we decided to play hide and seek. When it was my turn to hide, I ran off for a flimsy brown barn that had living quarters on top, and climbed the stairs looking for a good spot.
Bad idea.
There was still furniture inside, and personal belongings lay scattered across the floor. I maneuvered over broken dishes, tattered clothes, and crumbling books, eventually coming to a small room with a closet. Jackpot. There were even long black dresses still hanging on the rod that I could hide behind. I stepped inside and managed to force shut the folding door. My only illumination was a slit of sunlight that shone through the crack in the door from a nearby window. I crouched down with knees tucked into chest and waited. Some time passed and there was still no sign of my seekers. I waited some more, debating if and when I should give myself up.
Do they even know he's in there? I don't think they know he went in there. I don't think they know he's in there.
After nearly an hour, this was starting to get boring. My head drooped.
How do you fall asleep? Did he fall asleep
I
or
woke
pass
with a
out?
jerk. It was pitch black. Drowsy and confused, I forgot for a minute where I was or what I had been doing. As it came back to me, the realization that it was now nighttime and that I had been abandoned here filled me with sinking dread in the pit of my stomach. I tried to get up, but a sudden cramp in my calf kept me grounded. I squirmed about, waiting for it to pass, when I heard a door slamming shut downstairs, and instantly froze. One of my cousins?
No.
There was a brief
not
period
a
of
cousin.
silence, then footsteps at the bottom of the stairs. But not just footsteps, a thud too. After every other step. These weren't the footfalls of a child. They were slow, heavy, deliberate. I held my breath, praying they would go away. They did not. The noises continued to ascend.
What makes it more terrifying, bro, it's like I'm imagining myself in the situation. Like, what would I do? How do you manage to fall asleep in there? How do you even get sleepy in there?
After another moment of silence, the walking resumed, this time along with a steady scraping sound, like something heavy being dragged across the floorboards.
It's a dead
The
body.
footsteps made their way through the debris and wandered aimlessly through the various rooms. I thought I could smell something faintly putrid. The constant scrape sent cold shivers coursing down my arms and back. My worst fears were realized when the steps reached the bedroom doorway. They got closer and closer and finally stopped directly in front of the closet door.
Oh, no.
I couldn't see a thing. After an agonizing pause, they continued on over to the other side of the room and out the doorway again. They faded away down the hallway. I waited for what seemed like an eternity. There were no more sounds now, and I was trying to build up enough courage to open the door and flee. 3 things happened simultaneously just then. I was bombarded with a smell I can only describe as fresh roadkill. I heard raspy breathing behind me in the dark closet, and I felt hot breath against the nape of my neck. That was enough for me to hurtle myself out from the confines of that nightmare space, relying on memory and scant moonlight to navigate through the darkened house. All the while, I heard footsteps chasing behind me, closing in with terrifying speed. It was a clumsy, torturous escape full of trips and bumps and blind stumbling. I never looked back, at least not until I had burst out the front door and into the country night. And when I did turn around, I saw absolutely nothing. There were no more footsteps and nobody was chasing me. That didn't stop me from running though, all the way back to my aunt and uncle's house. There was a police car in the driveway when I got back. My parents were there too, worried sick. Everybody demanded to know where I had been. Apparently, when my cousins still hadn't found me by evening, they'd returned home to tell their parents. Eventually, the police were called in and informed me that they had already scoured every building on the farm. The insinuation that I was lying about my whereabouts didn't go unnoticed. None of it made any sense. It wasn't until years later that one of my cousins filled in a final piece of the story. He and his brothers had spent hours searching for me like they said, but the part they didn't tell anyone was that they thought they spotted me in the window of the bedroom I was hiding in. And when they got closer, they saw that it wasn't me. A young boy neither of them recognized was smiling and waving down at them and gesturing for them to come upstairs. That's when they ran back home. All of this while I slept in the closet.
It's crazy. How do you fall asleep, my guy? Can't be doing that. Alright, y'all. This next one is called Fishing Stories. I could have just said fishing. Oh my god. Daryl's Pond. Daryl.
There used to be a pond about half a mile away from my old house that I would commonly go fishing in. It was nicknamed Daryl's Pond. I still have no idea who Daryl was or why it was called that, but nobody owned it, so people would once in a blue moon go fishing there as well. It was usually me by myself though. I had dug a pole into the ground where I would tie a noose to and from my small kayak. I'd say it was about 3 in the afternoon when I rowed out to the middle of the pond, the sweet spot for getting a decent catch. There was another person coming out from the trees. I waved at him and gave him a smile.
Why you come out like that?
He hopped into a small boat floating by the edge of the pond and began to row over to me. As he got close enough where trying to speak to him wouldn't come off as obnoxious, I gave him a friendly, "Perfect day, isn't it?" "Yes, absolutely," he said. He didn't say anything after that, and I started to feel a bit awkward, as if I were obligated to keep some kind of conversation rolling now. "So, you come out here to throw some lines?" I asked. "No, I don't actually fish."
Then why are you out here?
"Well, it's never a bad day to relax on the pond," I said. He continued to row closer to me until his boat collided with mine, creating a big thud. I was genuinely uncomfortable now.
We're boxing. We're fighting. We are scrapping. Ain't no way I'm letting that slide. And you got my jacket wet. Did y'all just hear that eagle?
I didn't feel threatened, just weirded out. I was only 24 years old.
I would have
This guy
felt
looked
very
like
much
he was
threatened.
late 40s or 50s. There was an awkward silence. I tried to just act like I was focused on trying to make a catch, but by now that wasn't even on my mind. This guy was weird.
Throw a punch.
I didn't know what he wanted, and I was uncomfortable being so close to him. I felt him looking at me, or at least in my direction, as I faced halfway to the opposite direction of him. I took a quick glance to my right. Yeah, he was staring at me. I decided to be ballsy and lock eye contact with him. After about 4 seconds, he looked away. "So,
Weird.
where are you from?" I asked him. "Up there." He pointed behind himself, in the direction of the woodsy hill leading past the dirt road. "Oh, you live by Suffolk?" I asked. No, I'm not," he said. "What made you decide to come out here?" I said. "Why not?" I continued to try and uncomfortably fill the awkward silences that kept coming up. His responses were dry. He didn't contribute anything to what was barely a conversation.
Bro, get out
He
the water.
just sat there not doing anything with half a
know what's
smile on
going
his
on.
face, looking either at me or in my general direction throughout. I was creeped out. My heart was racing at this point. I'd go as far as saying that I was nervous for my life. We were surrounded by trees in all directions in the middle of a pond. I started to row a bit closer to land, but in a very low-key kind of way, trying to play it off as me just trying to find a better spot to find some fish.
I wouldn't be playing nothing.
I was horrified when I saw he was following me.
Left. Oh, nah.
"What a great day, huh?" I felt a shake in my voice. I got close enough to the edge of the pond where I finally told the man, "I think I'm gonna call it a day." I turned to see his reaction. He was still staring at me, but his smile was gone now. "I can't let you leave," he said. He lifted his flannel to expose a handgun sticking out of his jeans pocket.
Bro, it'll be so bad. He'll have to kill me. That'll be his only choice.
As soon as I could process what I was looking at, I dove out of the boat for land, ran the whole half-mile uphill through the woods back to my house, and locked every door and window as soon as I made it home. I pulled down the blinds to the dining room window, leaving it open just a crack for peeking outside undetected. It started to get dark out, and I left every light in the house off, still peeking out to the front yard, making sure I wasn't followed. The time came when I finally decided I wasn't followed. I realize now, like you, that not calling the police immediately was a huge mistake. I kept my bedroom windows open to let the room air out. My bedroom was on the second floor, so I wasn't worried about being watched through the window. About half an hour after shutting the light and falling under the covers, I heard the sound of leaves crunching from outside. I sat up to hear it more clearly. It was definitely something walking around out there. Normally I would assume it was a deer or a bear.
Are you
But
crazy?
after what just happened, I was still in paranoia mode. I sat up as still as a statue, except for my shaking out of fear, waiting as the sounds of the steps stopped.
Bro, close those windows.
"Hey buddy, you up there? Are you trying to sleep?"
Oh no,
Sorry,
that's where I would
I
have.
didn't mean to wake you.
That's where I would have lost it right there. I would have went out there and whooped his. Ain't no way you just. Ooh, wee. Hey.
I felt like 100 pounds just fell directly onto my chest.
Ain't no way you just sat
It was
here
the
and
same
followed me.
voice. I knew it right away. I didn't make a sound. I crept out of the room quietly downstairs to the kitchen and grabbed the phone, practically crawling on my way out to avoid being seen through the open blinds. I called 911 like I should have earlier in the temporary safety of my bedroom.
This man
I
just
made
got the
sure to
windows
whisper
open.
into the phone, as I was still hoping that he hadn't yet heard or spotted me. 20 minutes felt like an hour as I sat behind my bed, waiting for the police to arrive in constant fear that I would hear glass breaking from downstairs, or a thud on the back door, or even just a voice again from down below my window outside. The police did a thorough investigation of the property in nearby woods, turning up nothing. They suggested I stay with a friend or a family member for a few days, and so I did. I never heard from or saw the man again, but I still moved a month later. I couldn't deal with the constant fear and paranoia of being watched through my windows.
You
I
leave
feel
him
much
open.
more comfortable fishing out by the bay now.
That was crazy. That was a crazy ending. I ain't gonna lie to you. Alright, y'all. This next animation is called Abduction. Wow. I like that intro.
My name is Josh Roberts, and it's been a year since I was abducted. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was walking home from school. It was about 6 p.m. and there was a full moon and a chill in the air. I stepped off the bus, and for the first time, someone else got off with me. I'd never seen this new kid at school before. I could hear footsteps behind me. I took a quick glance and saw the kid walking at a brisk pace. I thought he was following me, so I took a left, which wasn't my usual route.
Prime Undertaker.
I looked around again and saw him take the same left. My heart started pumping and my legs started shaking at the sound of the footsteps as they got louder and faster. I then panicked and started running.
Bro, why are you following me? Yeah, I would've just...
I remembered a shortcut in the nearby forest to my neighborhood, so I ran as fast as my legs could carry me. "Hey kid, wait up!" said
He's
a heavy
still
voice
behind him?
behind me. I tried my hardest not to stumble on the logs and boulders in my path. I could hear the sound of sticks and leaves being broken by some fast, heavy footsteps.
See, by now, I would have lost him. If I was running, yeah, I don't know how fast I am, bro. I would have been long gone.
My legs started throbbing as the adrenaline wore off, so I took a
Cause I know bro
detour
not
towards a
running that
playground.
fast.
I stopped to catch my breath, looking around for somewhere to hide, then went silent. I was doubtful that I lost him. I took my phone out to call the police when I spotted a local news article. "Caution, there is a suspicious man on the loose. He escaped the local prison and assaulted an officer. Beware, he may look like a teen, but he is in his 20s. If you see him, call 911 immediately and lock your door." My mind started rushing with
So out
thoughts.
of everybody in the
Started
city, this
panic.
happens to you.
All of a sudden, someone started choking me with their arm. I tried to fight back, but they were so strong, I didn't stand a chance. My feelings of hope began to diminish as I slowly blacked out. I awoke to find myself in a dark, damp room that looked like a basement. The floor was hard and cold. There were no windows, but there was a staircase and a bathroom. I tried to move, but I was tied up with a thick rope.
"Yeah, I got him. How much was the deal? 200?
Listen, you gotta do a little better than that. Okay, fine. You'd better bring the right amount.
Or you'll be tied up like that kid."
What?
Dang.
Are they selling me? The guy sounded mad and anxious with whomever he was talking to. Right after he hung up, he opened the door and walked down the stairs with an evil smile. "Let go of me!" I exclaimed as he taunted me. My
You coulda
arms started to
took
fall
anybody
asleep
else.
due to the tightness of the rope. He came closer to me and I spat in his face. He looked at me in sheer rage. Then the doorbell rang, followed by pounding on the door. The guy grabbed some tape and shut me up before I could scream for help. He slowly backed off, signaling me to keep quiet, and ran towards the front door. I looked around, trying to see what I could use to untie these ropes. I spotted a rusty, sharp edge sticking out of the wall. This was my one hope. I successfully got up and tried with all my might to reach it. As I was trying to cut the rope from my hands, I could hear the commotion upstairs getting heated. I managed to free myself from the ropes when I heard the front door slam. The silence was terrifying.
Get back in your
I
spot.
was frozen in fear. Footsteps started coming towards the door. I choked and shuffled back to my original position, arms behind my back, wrists tightly locked together. "Now where were we?" said the man. He walked towards me, grabbed my ankles, and started dragging me when the phone rang. He dropped me instantly and charged upstairs. I wasn't going to lose this opportunity. I untied my feet, grabbed the closest thing to me, and hid behind some boxes. "Now where did you go?" he said as he stampeded down the stairs. I heard him getting closer to where I was hiding. I bolted up from behind the boxes and saw him checking the bathroom. As he walked out, I struck him over the head with a pole. He stumbled and fell to the floor. Crimson red pooled around his head. I ran
was that, a
upstairs
metal
and out
bat?
the front door.
Yeah, that knocked him
I
out.
stumbled my way to the closest house, screaming. A woman thankfully opened the door. She was shocked and fearful when she saw me. The police were called and I was rushed into the hospital. They're still looking for that man, even to this day.
That's crazy. That was crazy. That was crazy. Well, there you have it, folks. Y'all know what time it is. Sadly, this will be the end of the video, you know what I'm saying? I need to start looking at the camera. Okay, the camera is right here. That way we can build a connection. No, chill, not like that. like I was saying, this will be the end of the video, you know what I'm saying? Hey, make sure y'all hit that sub button, smash that like button as well, turn my post notifications on so you never miss a new video. Why did I say it like that? So you never miss a new video, and I will see you guys next time. Peace. I need to start looking at the camera.